IT Director at New Trier Township High School and currently Superintendent of West Vienna School District. Steve?
One thing that I would like to speak about is online courses, particularly for remediation. When I was a high school principal, we had a failure rate in some of our math classes that exceeded 50%. And so as we took a look at how to solve this problem, putting them in another math class next semester is not necessarily, the best option. They failed again, the kids just failed again. So what we did is looked at some online opportunities for kids where, they could take the course in a different way, the same material. And interesting enough, for the kids who showed up to school, so basically any student who wasn't a chronic truant got at least one semester of credit online. Some kids actually got 4 semesters worth of credit online. And so instead of failing and just going and failing again, kids had a chance not only to remediate, but actually catch up so that they were back on track to graduate with their classmates. And that was just an absolutely huge motivational factor for those kids because it allowed them to do something that without technology they wouldn't have been able to do before. Because in most classes, they sit for a semester, they get a semester's credit. We had a number of kids who actually got, as I said, up to 2 full years worth of credit in 1 semester. We expanded that. We were able to do it for kids who in May realized they weren't going to graduate or were a course short, and if they worked hard and did the work, they could use that online remediation as a way to actually graduate on time. We were able to push our graduation rate up, we lowered our failure rate, and we're very successful. I've now actually moved a similar concept into our middle schools as we look at kids not being able to meet state standards. We've put them in booster classes. One of the things we've been able to do is tie the MAPS assessment that we give to kids to online tutorials that are customized to those individual students. And we used a really good group of pilot students. We used middle school students who had been told they had to go to summer school. So really the most motivated possible group of students you could find. And we put those kids in there. And actually, the teachers said they came in early. They didn't want to take their breaks because they really enjoyed learning in that environment because to them, it was much more video game-like than sitting there watching at the whiteboard or the smartboard or whatever for the teacher to teach them. They worked on their own pace. If they made a mistake, no one knew but them. And it's been incredibly successful. And again, it's a great example where we were able to identify what the instructional need was. In this case, better remediation, safety net for kids, and then use technology effectively to solve the problem. So.
Steve, great. Having had, through my son anyway, first-hand experience with online learning, I cannot endorse that enough. And I'll tell you, just the interactions of the teachers with the students online is really something special, and sometimes we forget about that. But it's
the embarrassing thing is, you talk about this morning, for instance, kids aren't allowed to take online courses in some places, whereas all the research will tell you that the student has more interaction with the teacher in an online course than they do in a regular course.
Yeah, great observation. Thank you. And let's conclude the opening remarks with Mike Rickle, Superintendent of the Glenbrook High School District.
I'll approach it today from talking about problems, and that's where our district was 2 years ago, and now we're moving into more of the Web 2.0 applications and social communications everyone else is. But our problem was conceptual and also from, I guess, a pragmatic standpoint. We reached the point that every meeting that we had started off with technology problems and people airing their gripes about our network didn't work, they couldn't get the work done. They had lost substantial instructional time across the board because we had a network that was working with Apples and PCs. Primarily PCs, and more of our schools were moving to PCs trying to clean up network problems. So what we found really basically was our network had been created by the tech staff for the tech staff and not for education or teachers. And so we came to the conclusion that had to be turned around completely. So what we did last year was really kind of nuts. We redid our infrastructure completely. It was a $2.7 million project in all of our first year of what we called Innovation Without Restriction, a 3-year plan for getting where we needed to be. With that was the issuance of 500 MacBook computers that were designed to have two operating systems at the same time to resolve the issue of the argument whether you wanted to be an Apple user or a PC user. What you find is every vendor will tell you that will work. That's not true, but it is now. And in going through, we now use Windows XP and we use Leopard next year. We will move slowly into Windows 7 because it's not quite there yet with some of the wireless LCD projectors and so forth, and especially Xerox printing. And as that comes online, will eventually be Windows 7 and Snow Leopard. So with our staff, that was a monumental shift. They now can open their MacBook and they're running both of those operating systems simultaneously using Parallels. Parallels was only working for individual users and not on the network. They thought it would, but it didn't. So there's a lot of things that we struggled with, especially in the first 7 to 8 months last year. But a lot of it also got cleaned up when we went to Active Directory. We now have one login for nearly every application that the teachers use. So we focused on our staff, putting things right for the way they needed to do their job, and putting the right tools in the right place at the right time. Put wireless in all of our buildings. Now they can take that MacBook and go anywhere and do anything they need to. And as we moved into that first year, we also launched, with the help of some great talent that we have with David Jakes, one of your presenters today, and his colleague Ryan Bretek, a multi-dimensional learning space, which is Moodle, which is integrated with Google Apps. Now, you can run Moodle and Google Apps separately, easily, but you have to log in multiple times. With the integration of these two, one login, you go back and forth seamlessly. That's not been done in very many places, so we're very pleased with that. As we're looking to the future, we're building more into that multi-dimensional space. With our email, we're staying local because of archiving and staying away from cloud effects. Some people have gone with Gmail. We're staying with Microsoft Exchange, and we probably are going to launch Mahara next year. So at this point, we feel like we're expanding and have a very exciting platform. I now go to meetings and I don't talk technology, okay? We talk education, we talk methodologies. Now we're actually talking about the business of teaching and learning and what kids should know and be able to do. We no longer have a thread of saying that this doesn't work for me. Now it does.
How refreshing. Great, Mike. Thank you. And fitting conclusion, opening remarks, and I hope that everybody has a chance afterward.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
I mentioned 2.7 million, but that was a massive overhaul of infrastructure. We came down $700,000 for year 2. For next year, we came down another $450,000. So we're doing very well.
Right. Well, that's a great segue. We have 3 topics we'd like to just cover in the next 15 minutes. And one of them has to do with the funding. And I'm going to ask Steve and Steve to open up on this. So let's either one, we'll get the microphone there. And how do you make the case for funding technology in a time when resources are so scarce? We read every day about school districts cutting personnel, yet we know we need to put aside some funding for technology. Steve, let's start with you and Westmont, and then go to Steve and Gower.
I think the key is you never argue to fund technology. That's a losing argument. And the key is, what do you want to do with the technology? What do you want to do differently instructionally? What do you want to do administratively? And what administrative efficiencies can you make by having more effective technology? And you argue those points as far as this is how it ties to the strategic plan. You heard Nancy Ann speak about that everything they're doing is tied to their strategic plan. The same thing. What do you want to do and how do you want to do it? And then, the issue of we don't have enough money is a moot point. It's all about setting priorities. So whatever your priorities are, in an earlier iteration, I was at Glenbrook South, and the issue then was trying to get a computer in everybody's desk. And they had been there for several years, and they had a number of people work on it. And I came in, and I was responsible for, among other things, the building budget. And I looked at them, I said, well, are you serious? Do you really want a computer in everybody's desk? And they looked at me like, well, of course we are. So I went through the budget. I figured out how to get the money, and 2 years later, everybody had a computer on their desk. And I apologize, some were Macs and some were PCs. I did at that time say I would rather try to convert everybody to Lutheranism than get them to choose a platform in common. And by the way, it is easier to get everybody to conform to one religion